Hello there, all you cool cats and kittens. I hope you're doing wonderful.
Yeah, anybody that can do high pressure sales, they're gonna have the capacity to do self-staging, absolutely.
Yep, absolutely.
We created our brand, which means we created our logo, we created our website, we created that vision before we launched our business. We didn't have a clue what our brand was before we launched our business.
Hi everybody, Shel Brodnax here with another episode of Stager Talk. And today I am super excited because Gina, your vice president here at RESA, has found this amazing woman, entrepreneur, speaker, coach, just all around brain that you are all going to want to be able to take a little piece of it home with you. Vera Jones. Vera, welcome to the show and thank you for joining me.
Shel, thank you very much. I'm excited. This is good stuff.
I'm super excited, man, because like I told you right before we started the show, Gina had found you and she sent me an email and said, she's going to give you chills. You're going to love this. She's going to blow your socks off. And I read it and I was like, hired, get her on the phone. Let's make this happen. So I'm super stoked. And you have got such an interesting background. So we can call you Coach Vera, Coach Jones. You were an all-star basketball player. And I believe I'm going to go off memory and I hope it's the right college. Was it Syracuse?
It was Syracuse. You're frozen on my end, by the way. Just letting you know, you're frozen to me. Yep. Okay. Now you pop back in. You pop back in.
Gotta love technology.
Yes. But freeze. Yes, I went to Syracuse University easily 30 plus years and 30 plus pounds ago. Absolutely.
I love to equate, and I'm sure you'll find this too. I am not an athlete like you were, but I competed in horse competitions, which you still have to be an athlete. People think that you just sit on the horse and the horse does all the work.
Yeah, right.
This is not true. They have no idea. Most people get on a horse in 15 minutes. They're going to feel more sore than they probably ever felt in the last 20 years of their life. So I competed with that. And I always equate, I wrote a book on it, on my competition experience and how I equate everything back to business. And I'm sure you find similar types of analogies with sports and being an entrepreneur, specifically about like not giving up. I was my first year out in competition because I kind of got a big mouth. I'm a little bit of a show off, maybe a little bit cocky with a couple certain things, but Kid Rock says it ain't cocky if you can back it up. So my first year I went out and I competed 12 times, did 2 different circuits. I was last place 12 times.
Wow.
I was horrified. I literally drove home every single day crying, what do they want from me? I don't know what to do. And it was horrible. And then what's funny is that I'm a business coach. And so I coach a lot of people about, don't worry about what your competitors are doing. Keep your focus, your eye on the ball. Don't worry about what everybody else is doing. And I went to see an equine performance coach and she gave me a little test and she came back and she said, you've got the best viewpoint on competition, except for this one little area. And I was like, oh no, I don't fail tests. I'll do it over. What part do you want me to take over? She's like, no, this is golden for you. She's like, if you want to win, stop worrying about your competitors. I'm like, what do you mean? And she's like, you're horribly obsessed with them. I'm like, what do you mean? And she dug in and I'm like, no, but hold on a minute. You don't understand. Like I talk to probably 3 or 4 people a day about not to worry about their competitors and what they're doing. And you're saying that I'm doing that?
Yeah.
Like, yeah, you are, hon. And I'm like, holy crap. And I looked back and I'm like, oh my God, she's so right. So the next year I went out, I set my own goals. I did my own thing. It was myself. It was Luke. We were ride or dies. That was it. My first event, I got a first place. Didn't even realize they were calling the numbers because I didn't care. That wasn't my goal. And they
you were just focused on the goal.
I was focused on me. And everybody's screaming because trust me, everybody knew that I was a whiny crybaby. And they were so happy that they weren't going to have to listen to me whine again the second circuit because I was last place all the time. And I didn't finish less than 4th and I won the state championship that year. So it's all about your attitude. And I see this. So let's talk a little bit about your experience being an athlete and coaching others and how that equates into entrepreneurship.
So my background being that I played basketball at Syracuse, but played basketball ever since I was 5 years old. For me, everything is about having a winner's mentality, right? Everything's about what we think. And my mantra, as I'm wearing it, is play through the foul. So the parallel for basketball, I guess if we were going to use it, would just be one of the things I like to say is the closer you get to the goal, the harder the foul. So just like in sport, the person that has the ball at half court isn't always closely guarded, but as soon as you get down close to the basket, that's where all the fouls happen. And life and business are just like that. The problem is we end up giving up too quickly. So, I'm always into motivating people to focus on just what you said, focus on the goal. That's another one of my mantras is what's the goal? Whether I'm doing conflict resolution, whether we're just focusing on a personal growth thing, whether we're talking about relationships, the first question to ask yourself is what's the goal? And where this kind of translated for me from basketball back to life, back to basketball, and then for life, for me, I guess my greatest challenge wasn't in sport. It was being a mother of a child who was diagnosed with a brain tumor. And honestly, Shell, it was the most devastating time of my life. And now I see the whole principle behind that is the lessons that I learned, that I finally did understand what is it all about, when you want to give up, when you want to quit, when you feel like none of this is going to work, I don't want to play the game anymore, and why it's necessary to take that next shot and the next one and the next one. You rebound, you take another shot. And when you're working with a child who has a brain tumor, my son lost his sight because of that. I was a coach, I was a player, but I had no idea how to coach him through the most dynamic, the most devastating time of his life. And I fell back on sport. I could hear myself giving myself all of those same little inspirational messages I try to share with the world. You have to play through the foul. Now's not the time to just give it all up and quit, right? You have to, it's a foul, it's hard, but the problem is we stop and we spend all our time focused on the foul instead of the goal. And the goal was to get him back so that he could feel normal, so to speak, again, that he could thrive, that he could do positive things with his life. And I took those lessons learned, and now I go around and share them with the world. So that's how basketball really, had I not had that foundation of understanding that life is painful, we get fouled in the game of life. But if you have a winner's mentality and you focus on the goal, you can play through those fouls. And that's the same thing for life and business.
Absolutely. There's that saying, it's not what happens to you, but it's how you handle it is what matters. And when I was very young, I was an angry adolescent, and I used to always say, why do bad things happen in the world? I couldn't, even back then I was going through like a spiritual journey. What is God? Why am I here? What is my purpose? All those things that a lot of people, it happens different parts of our lives where we start to explore that and ask about these things. But I certainly was at 12 years old even, and not understanding. Adults used to say, it's just get back up, just do it. And I'm like, but how? But I don't get it. And how do I change? But I can't change this. How do you get there? And your story is just so inspirational. Because it's going to be able to pull everybody through, especially if people are facing hard times. I mean, all these little analogies sometimes, so I'm always bad at the analogies too. People don't know. Tough times don't last. Tough people do. You name it. There's a saying out there for all of it. So how old was your son when he was diagnosed?
He was 12. He was 12 years old. Yeah. And, a lot of times, again, to speak how important the mental aspect of it is. Yes, physically it's tough. It's still tough for him to be blind, but also he has a lot of medical conditions that are related to the brain, and having no pituitary gland and a lot of hormonal imbalances that make life very, very difficult, weight gain, things like that. But quite honestly, be 12 years old in middle school, I don't care what anyone tells you, middle school children go through a period of walking hand in hand with the devil, right? But yeah, it's rough. Middle school's rough. And being bullied and picked on and teased. And so that emotional, and right at the point of emotional development, you're going through adolescence. Who am I? Why am I here? Who are my friends? How do I fit in? So to suddenly become the little blind boy when nobody else anywhere that he had ever seen was using a cane or had a disability, that was the tough part, the emotional roller coaster that we stayed on for many, many years. So it spoke volumes for me of just how important this message of mindset was, because that's what it took to get him over the hump. And no matter what adversity you're facing, every single time it's going to come back to, can you program your mind? Can you get that mind right to overcome what your heart and your feelings are saying, and trust what it is that the vision that, God has put in front of you? Can you trust that vision and just keep playing and keep focusing on that goal so that you can win? And that's what I try to empower people to do whenever I work with them, whether it's one-on-one or as a speaker overall.
Yeah, I love it. It's, emotions, and when bad things happen in your business. And when I say bad things, it's all really relative, and
It is.
really it really is, you know what I mean? Because bad things are your 12-year-old child having a brain tumor and having to deal with all of that.
Yeah.
Bad things is not that you got outbid on a job or somebody didn't sign your contract.
Yeah.
All of it are learning lessons. All of it is. So whatever adversities that we go through in our own personal lives, we can take those lessons and we can lead them back into your business. And so many people get so defeated over and I guess, again, it's all relative, because I look at things, because probably some in a different place. So I look at things and say, this is the simplest problem ever. Why are we talking about this problem?
Yeah.
I can fix that in 14 seconds.
Yeah.
And yet they struggle with it.
Sure.
And the one thing that I have realized over the years is that God, the universe, however you identify with spirituality, is that if you don't learn that lesson,
it's going to happen again.
It's going to come back, and it's going to come back harder and over and over. It's like when a lot of women, especially when you're dating that same guy over and over, but his name went from Jeff to Rob to Thomas to whatever, the same dude is showing up over and over.
Yeah.
And
Yeah. Because you haven't learned the lesson.
Because you ain't learned the lesson, girl. And that's what it is. And in business, it's the same thing. And some of these are they're such minute little lessons, and even tools that you just turn into policies and procedures that solve problems. But yet where you are in your business, you really have to meet your mindset where you are, and then try to tackle it to get, like you said, that winning attitude, that winning mindset that everybody needs to have. And I think that's the real hard thing that so many people, I used to ask people, how, what do you do? What's the sentence that I do? What are the steps that I do? And even with that, it's really hard to try to teach somebody how to change their mindset. I used to use a tool that every time something negative would come into play, because I'm an overthinker, real bad. And, just in my head, that I literally had to say out loud, get out of my head, 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 get out of my head. I'm driving down the street, get out of my head, whatever it is. Finally, I just would do it so long that you feel like an idiot for doing it. And it broke the concept, the thought train that kept going on that runaway train. What tips do you have for people when you're trying to change your mindset? Say you're in business, things aren't going well. What gets you over that hump?
I live by this. I have a little acronym for being on the bench of life. So a lot of times when we're on the bench, in other words, things aren't going the way we want it to go, right? We're not winning, we're not scoring, we're on the bench. And so think about, when you start talking about those life lessons, I always like to share this, the B. What are some of the reasons why in a game of life you could end up on the bench, just like in the game of basketball? Well, one of the reason the coach benches you is just, it has nothing to do with you've done something wrong. It has everything to do with breathe. The B just stands for breathe. Sometimes things aren't going right because you haven't taken enough rest time. You haven't taken care of yourself. You haven't stopped to breathe so you can think clearer. The E stands for evaluate. Sometimes I remember playing basketball at Syracuse, sitting on the bench was about, I could sit there as I was pouting, because I was always pouting, like, I don't want to be on the bench. But I began to see the game differently, like, it was a lot different seeing the game from on the bench than when I was out there actively playing. So when you're doing, you're not always thinking, right? And so I could see, and I was like, huh, wow, you know what? When she sets that screen on the left side, then that whole right side is open. So if I, and quite honestly, I became a 30-year television broadcaster, sports analyst, probably more from the lessons I learned on the bench than the ones I did from playing, right? Because I could see that perspective in the way the coach can. So the E stands for evaluate. The N stands for nurture. It's about taking time to find what are new and innovative ways to do that. When you nurture your thoughts, what that is hope. It's providing hope in your life. And maybe that's just enough push to keep you going. The C stands for cheer. Cheer for someone else. I sat on that bench, and after I stopped being so selfish, I realized I got other great teammates that are helping us win. Maybe it's not about me right now. Maybe I'm actually going to feel better in the greater scheme of things if I see how I can be an encourager, or I can make the assist to help someone else. And the H is for hunger. Because when you're on the bench of your life, when you're on the bench of your business, one or two things are going to happen. Either A, you're just going to quit, you're going to give up, or B, you're going to find the hunger, the resilience, the determination to go stronger and harder than you've ever gone before. And if that's the case, then being on the bench was the best thing that could have happened for you. We grow from the lessons of being on the bench. So don't always get so discouraged when things aren't going your way. Consider that this could be a blessing for a lesson that's going to take you over the top for the win you're looking for.
I absolutely love it. And I love the cheer portion. I loved all of it, but the cheer portion, I was, when I started my career, Zig Ziglar was just.
Yeah, I love Zig.
Changed my life.
Yes.
Changed my life. The book, See You at the Top, changed my life. That's probably when people say, what book can I read? I'm like, listen, man, it's an oldie, but it is a goodie. It absolutely changed my life in every aspect with See You at the Top. Highly suggest you go out and get it. But he has the saying that I'm the more successful, the more I help others be successful, the more successful I am. Yeah. And I love that. And I'm a big cheerleader of people. I like to promote other people. I'm all about sisterhood. I started a movement a couple years back. I didn't have time to really do what I want to do with it, but I still want to do something with it called Save the Sisterhood. And there's so many women out there that sometimes mean girls turn into mean women. And they carry that through their lives, which blows my mind away. Now, not always, but sometimes they do. Or they just haven't learned that sense of sisterhood. And I see just a lack of it so many times. I run a boarding stables to support my horse habit, and it's called Sisterhood Stables. And I want to attract a certain type of person here, and I do. And it all just kind of fell into place. And the more that you cheer others, and the more that you even just sit with gratitude for whatever it is that you have, that's what opens up. People want to talk about the law of attraction. Law of attraction people, it's not about just sitting around and doing a vision board. Oh, I hope this happens. Sure. It's not like that. Not what it's about. You still have to do the work. But when you're moving from a place of gratitude within yourself, you're so grateful to get up in the morning. I am so grateful that I actually get to get up in the morning, go outside, feed horses, and scoop horse poop. That brings
I was
me
with you on the feed. I was with you on the feed the horses.
I'm telling you, if you want some solitude and some reflection time, scooping horse poop, we'll give that to you.
Okay.
It'll change your world. It is absolutely spectacular. I love it. And there's times my husband, it's like, I'm going to fight you if you pick up the horse poop again. Sometimes he wants to help. You know how they are. They want to help you. So they go out and they do those chores. They think that, I don't know what he thinks, but it's like, dude, don't scoop the poop. That's my solitude. That's my time. But people have to have a sense of reflection and time on their own. And, when you're sitting on the bench and, you don't have the jobs coming in or whatever, those are the times you reflect. That you do an autopsy, what goes well, what doesn't go well, what am I going to do different next time? There's all these things and opportunities when things are slow. It's not that, the universe is trying to screw you over by not feeding you. It's giving you an opportunity to be fed, to feed yourself. And, think of these things of what you need to learn and to learn those lessons and to recalculate and then move forward again. It always tends to come in cycles too with people, don't you find?
Yeah, absolutely. And it's life. It really is. The game of life has fouls. It is play through the foul. The chapter one of the first book I ever wrote, the very first chapter is, life is a contact sport. You have to expect, like, if you go in thinking I'm not going to get fouled, then you're going to struggle, right? When you know up front, I teach little kids, we have this pad. So when they're going up for the shot, in the beginning, you get to just shoot the shot, or whatever. Oh, I made the layup. Yay, me. Right. But then I come and I hit them with a pad. Of course, I'm not brutal. I'm not brutalizing the kids, but I'm helping them understand that whether you have a wide open shot or the fouls are coming at you, the goal doesn't change. The goal never moves. So keep your eye focused on the goal. Don't focus on the foul, and expect that the fouls are coming, play through them. So in this real estate industry, quick laugh, I actually, when the fouls happened, I went and got my real estate license, right? And so I was going to sell homes. I was going to be the greatest real estate agent ever. I was going to use this effervescent personality. It didn't quite work out that way, right? I stuck with broadcasting. I should have stayed my lane, but I learned a lot by being in that industry. And what I learned is the very thing that you do in terms of staging homes was actually a part of it that I liked. So I got benched from sales. I didn't like that part as much, but I started working for a home builder, Pulte, which is pretty big here where I live in Florida, Pulte Homes. Yeah. And I found out, no, the part I was meant to get fouled a little bit in this so that I could discover, I know enough about the real estate industry, but then discover that what is my niche here? Right? Like, had I not tried at all and gotten fouled a little bit, then I wouldn't discover it. But here's where I fit in. This is something that I love to do. So that was my favorite part, was exactly what you all do. And I think I shared this with you early on, is, staging to me, even though I've only done a couple of homes because I didn't stay on it long, was something that I always said, if I ever go into a second career or want to do something else, this is what I would do, because I love it. So I'm so happy I get a chance to speak to stagers. I might learn something. I wish this was in person, so that I can talk and pick everybody's brain, but maybe another year we'll get a chance to do it. But I'm really looking forward to doing this time.
Yeah, definitely. And, staging, it's very right brain, left brain. So whenever I talk to people, they laugh at me when I say, oh my God, don't call me to come stage your home. That's not going to go well. I don't care where the artwork goes. I'm not lifting a sofa. Oh my God, I'm not going to move that crap around. There's nothing about the actual physical act about staging the actual home that turns me on.
Yeah.
I would need a business partner. Now, when I had a staging business, I only ran my staging business for about 4.5 months. I had so much business, I did not know what to do with. So awesome. My typical day would be like, hey man, I got the phone call, my first phone call. Hey, I'm opening my doors. What do you got? Oh yeah, want to come over to this house? Yep. First phone call, close my deal. And then I get another one, like, yeah, nailed it. And then I go out and get another one. Yeah, nailed it. I'm like, oh crap, now I got to go stage it. Holy no, what am I going to do? And then you go out and you do stupid decisions like buy a kidney bean shaped sofa. It's like, why did I do that? I don't know. But I would have had to have a business partner to do that. But when I closed it down quickly, because I couldn't find the creative that wanted to go out and do all of that, because I wasn't going to do it.
That would have been me. That would have been my side of it. Yeah.
That would have been our jam. We would have had just a balls out staging.
It's not too late. It's not too late. I said nurture. N stands for nurture, new perspective, new ideas, nurture, hope.
Yeah. Absolutely. But it's one of those things that, when you get benched and you get sidelined, when you get bucked off the horse, whatever the analogies that we want to equate it to, such a good time to reflect and to what I say, you dust your boots off, pull your jeans back up and hit it again and go out and make stuff happen.
Yeah.
I love it. I'm so excited for your talk. What are some of the key takeaways that we can expect from Now I See?
Well, again, I'm a storyteller. I wish I could say I was a storyteller of other things, but all of these tragedies and fouls happen to me. But that's the good thing, because I have lessons that I feel are going to end up being very practical takeaway. I like to be able to give relatable strategies of resilience and adaptation. And so I'd like to see people walk away equipped with that. I talk a lot about the winner's mentality. Some people we talked about, you and I have had experiences with sports. There are some people who haven't had those experiences. And so just trying to help you cultivate that, or think of ways that you can cultivate a winner's mentality. And coaching is just one of many, many ways. I have a coach myself, like good coaches have good coaches, because you want to stay ahead of the game and know how you can help. I have a self-assessment that I created that has helped a lot of people, and I get asked for now. I won't give it away, but we're going to take it. We're going to take it, a kind of shortened version of it, because we don't take enough time with self-awareness and self-care. Self-awareness and self-care. We start talking about how we can survive in business, but I'm thinking, even for me as a speaker, if something happens to me physically, what business do I have, right? As a stager, if something happens to you, especially if you're operating on a small level and you don't have enough staff.
Yeah.
So self-awareness and self-care. And so I want you to be able to be empowered to do that more for yourself. And then the last thing is just to be enthused that you matter. You are significant. What you do makes a difference. I don't know about where you are, but where I am, it's a huge seller's market, right? They need help to compete. They need help. Or how can I get that edge so that I can sell versus someone else? And, and how do we attract buyers in the first place? Well, beautiful staging, awesome, well-planned staging will help that in a lot of ways. And so you're helping a lot of people in doing that. And so you can't lose sight of your talent is your gift, and your gift matters. Just know that. So I'm hoping that you'll get all of that by the time you walk away and say, now I see.
Yeah. Awesome. I am so excited to hear the full talk. I've been able to, when we stalked you before we hired you for this, we were able to peek in on a lot of your different videos. And I will absolutely tell everybody, if you've never watched a basketball game, does not matter. You're going to get it. If you've never been interested in sports, who cares? Does not matter. You will understand this. A lot of people, when I use my analogies, because I do all the horse stuff, and people are like, I've never ridden a horse. I never knew anything, but yet you get it. So same concept. So I'm super excited. And I think also the self-care, this new word, self-care. Why were we not saying these words when I was in my 20s?
Right.
Or younger? It was like all of a sudden you turn 50 and everybody's like, oh, you got to take care of yourself. And I'm like, oh, I get to do that now? You shouldn't wait. Don't wait until you're 50 something years old to start pursuing your dreams.
True.
If you've got a dream, again, Zig Ziglar, if the mind can see it, the body can achieve it. If you can think it, you can do it. Henry Ford, if you think you can or you think you can't, either way, you're right. It's, your mentality dictates your success or your lack thereof success.
Absolutely.
Totally does. So tell everybody, let's say, what is your website so people can get a little sneak peek of you? And also you can go to resaconvention.com, and on the homepage, it has Vera's beautiful photo up there. Click on that. You're going to expand in some information, and there's a video message there waiting for you. So I want everybody to head over to that. But in the meantime, where people can just see a little bit more about some of your reels and what you talk about, what's your website?
Go to Vera's, there's an S in there, Vera's VoiceWorks.com, Vera's VoiceWorks.com. And on the front page or the home page, you'll be able to pull up the video. I have a video that went viral at over 47 million. And it tells my story, and hopefully it'll be relatable, and hopefully it'll be motivational for you and kind of get you set for what we're going to be doing at RESA. Yeah.
Well, I'm super excited, and thank you so much for taking time out of your day to be on the show.
Yeah.
I think you're an inspiration. I'm glad your son is doing well. And think about, it's one of those things, every time tragedy hits, when somebody can take something that's really crappy to happen to you and turn it into something where you have touched thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of people's lives. I mean, that really is a true testament to you and your winner's mindset. So I appreciate your story. I appreciate everything you bring to the table. Thank you so much. For everybody else, RESACON, check it out. Get your tickets if you have not gotten them already. It is September 30th and October 1st. We're going to have a lot of on-demand sessions that you'll be able to have the entire week. You can watch them whenever you want. You can watch them after RESACON, but our keynotes are going to be September 30th and October 1st, and Vera's going to be one of those. So join us. Until next time, everybody, happy staging. Thanks so much. Bye.